Whoops, hello lovelies, here's my get ready with me.
Okay, here we go. Ugh, I have my window open because it's too warm to not, but I hate knowing that people might be able to hear me. Didn't think this far ahead, don't know what I'm doing with my face at all. We're gonna experiment a little bit, but I'm hoping it goes better than the last time, because if you remember, the last get ready with me did not go to plan. So let's see if we can do it a little less awful this time around, perhaps. I don't have a whole lot of faith, but we'll see. I so do not want to do makeup right now. No. Bunch of my makeup's in a bag. Where is that bag? Crap! Hold on. I am severely overheating now. I have to run looking for it and run up and down the stairs. Huh. Okay. The bag of makeup was in the car because of the reason I was about to say why I don't want to be doing makeup right now. And it's because my friend Freya came to visit me from London, and so she was here for just under a week, and so like every single day we were so busy and we were out I drove more than I have in my life probably, but every day we were doing like a full face of makeup and going out and taking pictures, and so by the time she was leaving I was like, thank God I don't have to do makeup anymore, and I was like, no, because I have to record. So quite upset about that. Not about having to record, but about having to put makeup on my face again, because like I have broken out quite a lot around here. Do a new set of claws as well. Everything's going wrong. They've like blunted, like I've like chipped the end off some of them, and I'm like, But yeah, God, let me tell you about that week. I'll probably go into like more detail in my newsletter, Patreon. Just need to read that if you sign up for Patreon. But especially there's like some bits that I might put behind like a bit of a trigger warning in the, like at the very bottom of the newsletter, like a page that's like, only read this far if you're okay with this content. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, what all did we do? I think that's right. How could I forget? So like the day that she arrived, the night before, like I'd stayed at my friend's house and we had like camping like what is in technically the garden but doesn't even feel like the garden because you have to go past like a bunch. You have to go past a bunch of fields and like trees and stuff, and it's by a little lake, so it's very secluded. So we had like a little camping night, very, very cute. We had lots of fun all day in our little spot, and at night we were like toasting marshmallows, and like I was trying to do savoury s'mores, but the Baby Bell wasn't really melting, it was just turning grey. It didn't melt, it just went grey and had a smoky flavour, which was nice, but it wasn't the desired effect. And that was all very cute. The only problem is Michaela lives in like the butthole middle of nowhere in the opposite direction of the airport, and so like it already takes me like 40 minutes to get to Michaela's house, and it takes like maybe 30 minutes to get to the airport, and I had to do, so it was already a lot. But then I was on my way, taking my usual route, and I go down and I get to like a certain part of the journey, like getting closer to Belfast, and the road was closed. And I was like, huh, what a weird road to close off. This is quite a busy road. How strange. Wonder what they're doing. Let me take a little detour. And I tried to take a little detour, and that road's closed as well. And I'm like, huh, this goes further than I thought. Okay, let me try again. And I take like another even more obscure detail, and it's still closed. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so I take another one, and I like, for a second, like, because it's like way off in the distance, I was like, am I like high? What the fuck? Because it just looked really weird. It was lots of people. A massive crowd of people all running. It was the Belfast Marathon. I didn't know that the Belfast Marathon was happening. And I was like, fuck. And so I tried several other detours going all the obscure different little ways all around Belfast that I can think of. And I don't know what the route of this, who designed the route of this marathon, because people were everywhere. They were everywhere. Every single road I went in any direction, somehow the marathon was still happening there. And I have to say, for a city that has no underground like transportation and relies entirely on the roads, that should be illegal here. Either make like one sort of circular route or something where like, you know, you're not disrupting people, or like, I don't know, because I was so angry. Over, like, I think like an hour and a half maybe, I was just driving around Belfast, almost shedding tears of rage, because I just couldn't get, and like obviously Freya's waiting for me at the fucking airport, and I'm just like, so, didn't have a good time. People, and like, there was times where like I was able to drive down the road, but like the marathon was happening alongside me, you know, like I was driving as they were running. and people watching were just wandering out in front of my car, like having their dogs wander out in front of my car as I'm driving, and I'm like, I do not have the patience for this. I was very, very angry. I think like at one point, because we were going to be going back to Michaela's house after, so it was already a long enough trip because I was having to go shoo, shoo. That made it all so much worse, and I was taking so long that at some point Michaela messaged and was like, did you get her yet? And I think I just replied with a video of the marathon going past and me screaming and nothing else. So that was, yeah. I don't have a problem with marathons, but when they cause such a like obscene amount of obstruction, I'm like, right, we maybe need to rethink this because that was silly. And like, I spoke to a bunch of people and like, I didn't know the marathon was this weekend, and I was like, neither did fucking I. So, oh, but I got her eventually, and we went back to Michaela's house, and it was very nice, and we sat out by the lake, and we played with the cat, and we had some food, and it was all lovely. And then we came back here, got settled in, did the little room tour of my museum of creepy things. Oh, and she brought me something. Hold on, let me show you. I haven't taken it out of the box yet because it's like really nicely presented, and I'm like, is there a way I can keep it? Aha! Oh, bones! Duck skulls and all sorts. Very cute. I don't want to tilt it and have everything go flying, but very cute. And it was like a little ho-ho. So cute. That's exactly how you get on my good side. Bring me bones. But yeah, so we did that. We went out and got Thai food, and then we watched a movie. I think we watched White Chicks. Because I think it was like a while back we were out at Bar 13 for a night out, and one of us said something, and it was like, and then we just started fucking quoting White Chicks, and it was like, oh my god, you know that movie? And so yeah, we were watching that and just being very silly. Which is why, if you saw the post I did on Instagram about like all our time, it's all like very aesthetic pictures, and it's all very moody, and then the song playing is 1,000 Miles, and I feel like a lot of people are like, what the fuck? But it's because like we watched White Chicks on the first night, and then so the whole trip we'd have like all our moody music, but then like that would come on shuffle in the car, and we'd be like, making my way to... It was just very fun, so that's why that song was there. So yes, first night was very chill, and then the next day, oh that's right, we didn't have like a super big day the next day because it was Bank Holiday Monday, and originally that was the day that I was like, we could go to the Giant's Causeway, and then I realized it was Bank Holiday Monday, and I was like, no, because everyone and their grandma's going to be up there, so let's not. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like it's not. But yeah, so instead of trying to go anywhere in Northern Ireland that might be like, you know, where people go on their little holidays when the weather's nice, it was like, right, let's just have like a little Belfast day. So we did that. So we went into town, we went to the little witchy shop I like, and we bought some cute things. I think we ended up like stopping at like Zara or something, because like on TikTok people had said they had nice stuff but we couldn't find it. Went and got salads for lunch, and then we went to, I keep wanting to call it Santeria, but it's not called Santeria anymore. Orisha? I think it's called Orisha now. Which is like a cute bar in Belfast that I really like, and it's like almost next door to the metal bar, but I like Orisha better because they do cocktails and Voodoo does not. But yeah, so brought her there because like that's like a nice little place, and we sat and like went over plans and looked at the little bits that we got from the witchy store and had a very nice time. Yeah, I think then after that we were gonna head home, but it was like, well, we still have like lots of day. What should we do? I feel like that's not really done what I was wanting it to do, so we're just gonna move on. Oh, I forgot my eyeliners in the car. It got lost. I'm gonna do some other stuff first because I just don't have the will to go do that right now. But yeah, so I kind of just like look through my phone to like places that I've saved. Because whenever I find somewhere cool, I just like stick it on a little map. And there was like, it's up towards Bangor. There's like a tower in the middle of the woods, I think called Helen's Tower. And I'd never been before, so I was like, do you want to go find this tower in the woods? So that's what we headed off to do. And like as we were walking, there was like a hole in a wall like into the woods, and we were like, oh, let's see where this goes. So we went in there, and sort of like we're like in the woods, but there's like a field over here with like a clearing, and there were like a couple of guys on dirt bikes, and we were like, oh gosh. And like one comes over, and I was like, oh fuck, have we accidentally like stumbled onto like private land? Are we about to get told off? And like, I now know it wasn't private land. We actually were in the area we were trying to go. We'd just taken like a shortcut into like part of it. But this guy like on the dirt bike like rides over, and like we're like, haha, hi, like are we about to get yelled at? And then he was just, I can't remember what he said, but he was just like blah blah blah, you know, out here on the dirt bikes. And we're like, yeah, bet you didn't expect to see two banshees in the wood, tee-hee. And he was just like kind of making jokes. Then he's leaving. He's like, "Oh, not a bad looking pair of banshees." And we're like, "Oh no, oh no! Even in the woods, you can't escape men." And so we're just like, "Haha." and we like headed on, and we went down to this, like, we found like a little lake, and we're like, ooh, and we like ran down to the lake, but the guys with the bikes were still kind of like around, which fair enough, they're doing that fine. But then like the other one of them, it's like, it's not near the course they're on at all. We're standing down by this lake through a bunch of trees, and like this one comes like flying through the fucking trees, and, like pulls up the lake next to us and is like looking at us, and we're like, hey. And he's just like, right. And we're just like, okay, and we just walk away, and we're like, what the fuck was that? Why must men be weird? So then for like the rest of the time we were there, every time we like heard the bikes getting near, we were like fucking like trying to hide. It was like, please no, it's just stay away. Just trying to enjoy time in nature, please. I was like, if someone wants to come up and say hi or whatever, that doesn't bother me, but the second you start being creepy, I'm like, get to fuck. So that wasn't super pleasant. But we had a little wander around, found like a bunch of cool little nooks in the woods. Especially because like there was a storm, like a really bad storm in Ireland earlier in the year. It's like one of the worst we've had in a long time. And like all the forests here now, they took out so many trees. Every forest I go to, like, unless you stay to the paths, you just can't actually make your way through because so many trees got knocked down that it's just impossible. So we found like a bunch of like cool spots where like, you know, a tree had been ripped up and you like see all the roots and it's really interesting. So we were like just messing around, taking like aesthetic pictures there. That's right, I think there's one I have to get from her where I like put my hand through one. But that was like a whole thing. And then or like I looked at the map and I could see that the path to the tower kind of like looped up and then down around, and I'm like, well, it's just like, you know, if this is the loop, we're here, it's there, surely we can just shortcut. So we tried that. Regret it. Like it was up a whole big like rugged hill, like through all the brambles and the bushes, and there was like a bunch of holes you couldn't see because the grass was overgrown, because it wasn't a path at all. We were just like climbing up this hill. It nearly broke my ankle several times. By the time we got to the top of the hill I was like like it was not worth the shortcut. But yeah, we did find the tower and it's really cool. You can actually like rent it out to stay in it. Like I saw someone on TikTok like do like a very aesthetic video there because they stayed in it. Oh, I want to do it so bad, but I think it's like quite expensive. I think like the price per night's quite expensive, and I think you have to do more than one night as well, so you couldn't even just do it for a night. So that blows. But someday I want to stay in the fancy tower. I think after that we just headed home. I don't remember doing anything else that evening. And then the next day I scheduled out like 2 days to do all the North Coast stuff because there's just like so much of it that I was like, we cannot make it all work in a day. Oh, the eyeliner, I need the eyeliner. Okay. I'll tell you the story of the next day when I go retrieve my eyeliner. I'm back. We're doing like a big ol' whoop. Yes, day 2, the Tuesday, is when the adventures began. So, what did we do? I think we woke up quite early anyway. God, hold on, I need to focus for a second. Oh god, this pen is great like when you haven't used it yet and you first start using it, but then gravity is your enemy. Wait, because I'm doing it this way. Because it doesn't flow right, so unless you had it like this, so the second eye always ends up worse than the first. Yeah, got up quite early. I think like getting ready that day like went off pretty much without a hitch. I forget what I even wore. No, I remember, that's right. Oh god, that was a big day. So yes, we did like all manner of things. So we got up, stopped off at like the petrol station, whatever, got some food, got my Monster, got petrol, and then we headed off, and our first stop was the hidden village of Galbully, which is like, I know they used it for filming Game of Thrones. I still haven't watched most of Game of Thrones. I tried a couple of years ago and I got like 1 or 2 seasons in maybe. Well, I've forgotten everything, so I need to watch it again. But I really should actually watch all of it, because every time I bring people here I'm like, do you like Game of Thrones? Which unfortunately most of the people who visited me have not watched Game of Thrones, so I can't utilise one of the main things we're famous for and be like, that's where it was filmed. But regardless, the hidden village of Galbully, it was used for filming. Don't know what part, haven't a clue. But it's like a little abandoned sort of series of like stone shacks up in the mountains. Gorgeous, gorgeous mountain range, so pretty. And you have to walk up like a big long ass path to get to it. I think like, yeah, one of the buildings is actually fake because they built it specifically for Game of Thrones. But yeah, so that was our first stop. I keep feeling like we stopped somewhere before that, but I really don't think we did. I just think because we stopped off at a petrol station to get a lighter or something, but that's why I feel like there was one more stop than there actually was. But yeah, so we went there and we did the whole walk up in the hills. It's so cute because there's like sheep everywhere. There's sheep everywhere in Ireland. But there's like sheep all just kind of wandering around free in the mountains. We're like, hello, but they're not very, very friendly. And I'm like, please, I just want to give you a little scritch. But yeah, we walked up the whole path and we went there and explored up there a little bit and took some pictures. And like, we're fucking standing in the doorway at this little shack looking like witches, and these 2 like random tourists show up and we're like, hello! But they were actually super friendly and really nice, and they like took a little picture for us and everything. It was very cute. So after that we headed off. And the next place we were headed was Cushendun Caves, which like we weren't sure if that was going to work because on Google it said temporarily closed, and I'm like, how can you temporarily close a cave? Now I know, I will get to that in a second. But on the way there, we spotted this like little sort of like abandoned farm shack looking thing, and we're like, and there was like a place to pull over, so I was like, let's go have a little look. Something says to me this is a cool place to explore. So we did, because it was like up in the hill a little bit, but like you could see it, so we like had to park and like walk up the hill to get to it, and like hop a fence that we're probably not supposed to. And we went in to explore it, and what we found in there is what is going in the newsletter under the trigger warning, because oh my god, neither of us were prepared for that. And we're like, oh fuck, and then we're like, right, okay, we cannot deal with this right now, so we decided to continue on with our day as planned and then go back there that evening. So we headed off. We just left it be, and if you want to know what was going on, you know where you can find it, because I feel like YouTube would be like, "Meow, meow, meow," especially if I put any photos. So, but yeah, so we made it to the caves, and they were indeed actually like closed off because they're doing some sort of construction in there, which leads to like a very funny part of the story. But yeah, like we could see there was like a bunch of like fences up around it and it was all closed off, and we're like, ah, shite. But we were like exploring the beach a little bit anyway, because it's like, you know, like on the beach. And this couple was going by and they were like, oh, like the main caves are closed off, but if you go round that corner and climb up a little bit, one of the caves is still open. We're like, oh my god, thank you. Like they knew exactly where we were headed for. And we're like, thank you, kind couple. And so we did, we went there and we took a bunch of like cool spooky cave pictures. We took so many pictures during that week. I have gotten through such a tiny percentage of them. I'm going to be posting pictures from this for weeks. But yes, we went in and we were taking these pictures and we were doing these ones because like we have the same fucking brain and we both had the same sort of idea of like wanting to do pictures with like long drapey like sheer fabric blowing in the window or whatever, and it was a little bit windy in the cave, so we were like perfect time for that. But there was like one point where I was like draped head to toe in this like long flowy, like, you know, it was all like wrapped around me and kind of blowing in the wind. And I was just kind of stewed over at like the mouth of the cave, and I think Freya was at the back of the cave where you couldn't see her like doing something. And one of the construction guys for the cave directly next to us, because like the paths in kind of like forked like that, so like, you know, the blocked off cave was here, we're here, but you're coming up the path and then like, you know, it's fenced off and you go in. And as I'm standing there looking like some sort of fucking banshee, this man pulls up in the truck to like drive into the other cave. And I'm just stood there like, I just froze. I didn't know what to do. I was like, if he sees me, he's going to have a fucking heart attack. I don't know if he did see me. If he did, he chose to simply ignore it, which is probably the smart thing to do if you think you see some sort of entity while you're just trying to do your job. But yeah, I was just like, man, if this guy sees me, he's kind of a freak. But yeah, that was all very fun. I thought we did more things that day, but I think there was a few that we skipped out on because we were going to do Kinbane Castle, but we decided against it just because like it wasn't high on the list of priorities. Anything we skipped we're going to do like in a different visit, just because there's an endless amount of things. But we skipped Kinbane because it wasn't like high on the priorities, and also neither of us love heights, and that is us. Like me and Kuro went there last summer. I think I did a vlog actually. It might be in the vlog of me and Kuro from last summer. And good lord, if you don't like heights, that's a place to go. But also the stairs are mental, and I was like, do you feel like walking up 1,000 stairs right now? And I think we both came to the conclusion of no, that doesn't sound like fun. So we didn't do that. We stopped off at a couple of places along the way, like where there's just like little lookouts where you can just see like the coast and all the cliffs, and it's beautiful. So we had like a few little stop-offs like that. Oh god, no, that's right. we were driving along next to this like field, and it was called like the Field of Hope or something. It was just a random field. There's a big sign like the Field of Hope. But like as we're driving by, Freya's like, oh my god, dead crow, and I'm just like like off into the lay-by, and I'm like, huh! Like, because there was a little place to stop, and I was like, seriously, like, was it? And we went, and this is where it gets kind of weird with that one, because like we're both spooky bitches. We like to collect bones and stuff. Like, can I give you a little sneak peek of the upcoming room tour? Where are we? Nope. Aha! There you go, a little sneak peek. So yeah, it was like dead crow, and we're like, oh fuck. So like we go over, and it was actually a dead rook, except it wasn't a dead rook, and it wasn't 2 dead rooks, and it wasn't even 3, 5. 5 dead rooks just scattered down this field, like basically in a line. And we're like, what the fuck? And it was so odd, and I was like, what killed all of them? Like, they're all there, like freshly dead, and we're like, what on earth? And I had like bags in the back of my car and I was like, do we just go? So I ended up going into the field while Freya stood watch, and I was like, and I had to like duck under an electric fence and everything to get in, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna get shot by a farmer. But I got in and like, yeah, they were just like there was no wounds on them or anything. I have to assume that they'd been poisoned or something, because I have no other explanation for what was going on there. But I was like so nervous, I was like, am I about to be fucking electrocuted or something here? I ended up only grabbing 2 of them. I wish I'd gotten all of them, but I had bad vibes in the field of hope, ironically. And I would have had to go way further down the field to get to the rest of them, so I grabbed 2, I was like, there we go, 1 each. Let's go. So yeah, that was just weird, and we're like, why were they all just there in a row? So strange. But yeah, so grab those, as one does. And then we headed on to, we were gonna stop, we actually did stop off at Dunseverick Castle, and we had a little look, but we decided not to like cross over and stuff, because like Dunseverick Castle, it's barely a castle, it's the tiniest little ruin you've ever seen, and to get up to it you have to go like down and then round and up, and it's like a lot of climbing. And so again, we were just like, nah. But we had a little look, and then we headed to a place called Dunseverick Rock Pools, which was like our last stop of the day. And the rocks there are just really cool, so we were taking pictures on all these black rocks, and then I was like, I'm gonna get in, let's do it. And I brought a towel just in case, very sensible. And so that was fun. And it was like, it was definitely chilly, but like the rock pools are quite big and the sea is constantly coming in, so like it was cold, but it definitely wasn't like the coldest water I've been in, so it was it was fine. And I took a bunch of pictures in there, and I took some with like the fabric and stuff that I still have to go through and see if any of those turned out cool or if they're just kind of weird. And we got like ones of Freya on the rocks, but then like she was like, whenever we're done taking my ones in the water, she was like, that looks cool, I am also going to get in the water. And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, no, I can do it. And I'm like, alright, we can give it a go. And like, while I was like lowered into the water and I was like, whoo, get in, she kept being like, go on, don't be, so just jump on in, stop being a pussy. She put like 1 foot in the water and was like, no. Immediately no. I definitely have a higher tolerance for the cold. Because like on nights out or whatever, like it's always the same, like I will be there like, you know, basically not wearing clothes at the club in the smoking area with them or whatever. And like Paris and Freya are both like, oh my god, it's so cold. And I'm like, I'm fine. So I have a much higher tolerance, but it's so funny that she's like, oh go on, it's not that bad, just jump in. And she put like a toe in and was like, absolutely fucking not. So yeah, we did those. And then I wrapped myself up in my towel and took off the wet clothes, and then we started the very long drive home, because if you look at the difference between Belfast and Dunseverick on the map, it's like at the top. It's a lot. And yeah, and then on the way home we did in fact stop. We stopped back at the place and we dealt with the thing. I know that's very cryptic, but there are simply some secrets between me and my Patreon people. I do feel bad though, because I feel like I'm putting this video up quite soon, and that newsletter that's going to be in doesn't come out until the end of this month, so even my Patreon people are going to be watching this and being like, what the fuck, what happened? And they're going to have to wait as well. But hey, in the meantime, there's plenty of past issues to read. I don't know if I'll spoil it in the Discord or not. Remains to be seen. And then yeah, we got home like super late, because it had been a big day. It doesn't sound like that many things, but like everything's so far away, and we spent like a long time at each location, so it adds up. I think when we got home that night, we just had like girl dinner for dinner, and then or was that? Did we get somewhere else? What did we do? No, it must have been. So yeah, we did that, and then I think we started watching Silent Hill, but we were both so fucking exhausted from the day that we definitely fell asleep halfway through. The next day, oh, we'd wanted to go for breakfast in this really cute cafe that I've been to before, like, where is it, like near Downpatrick, called Fodder in the Woods, but as it turns out, Wednesday is the only day of the week that they're closed, and I was like, of course. So that sucked. And also, I don't know why that day, but we took so much longer getting ready. I think we were just like faffing around a lot. So we got like a much later start. But we headed off eventually and just got, you know, like petrol station breakfast again. Oh, not only does this start going crap when it's been up the wrong way up, but it then starts taking off the eyeliner with it. It just did a little blobby thing. Why though? Because I believe on that day, there were like a bunch of things on the list, but because we got such a late start, we decided to, oh my god, I'm making it worse, decided to scrap a couple of them. So our first stop ended up being this like cool stone circle down in Downpatrick. And yeah, it's really cool. Like the whole walk up to it is like super magical. It's like this tunnel through like all these gorse bushes, and it's just like really pretty. And like the whole way along, people have hung like little charms and trinkets and left little fairy cottages and stuff, and it's so cute. And then when you get to the actual like stone circle, it's like, you know, if you think of something like Stonehenge but like mini, like small. Like I think some of the rocks are like just about my height, so that's kind of the scale of it, and then most are like much shorter. Yeah, and whenever you get down there, then there's like at one side of the stone circle there is like a little fairy tree, a little hawthorn tree, and people tie ribbons to it and like other little trinkets and like hair ties and stuff, and leave like wishes for the fairies, and then some people like leave stuff underneath and everything. So yeah, we went there and we left some little bits by the fairy tree. Yeah, so we sat and chilled there for a little bit and left some bits, and it was like very cute. We took some pictures there. I know I've posted some of those, took those there. And then we went like into the field next to it. We went there because I actually went up there with my other friends like on Beltane, and that day there was like a bunch of sheep and everything in the field, and that was super fun. We're having lots of fun with sheep. If you watch my Instagram stories you probably saw that. And at the very bottom of the other field I found, like we were just walking along and I saw like a little bit of white in the grass, and I was like, bones? And like I went, and not only was it bones, I found an entire badger skull. Look at him! Like in the grass, like the grass had like grown through him, like he was very, very buried. And I only saw the skull, but then like I was thinking after we left that day, I was like, man, if the skull was that buried and like encased in grass, I wonder if the rest of the skeleton could be there. So me and Freya went down there just to see if we could find him, but like not only was it hard to really tell exactly where I found the skull, there was like a little patch where the grass looked disturbed, and I was like, maybe it was there, and I tried to cross-reference it from videos we took, but I don't even know if I was looking in the right spot. And I tried like rummaging through the grass, and I had big scissors to like cut and stuff, and I didn't find anything. So we gave up eventually, because who knows if I was even looking where I was supposed to. So that was a shame, but worth a try. And then, that's right, so then we headed on off into Newcastle. Newcastle, Northern Ireland, not Newcastle, England, which is like a really cute little town. Ew, a fly just went in my ear. Really cute little town like next to the sea at the foot of the Mourne Mountains, and it's so beautiful there. I love it so much. It's like one of my favourite places. So we went there, and our first stop was, there's like a little witchy shop there, so we had a little peek, because you have to see what bits and bobs they had. And there was like a cute little like let the crystal choose you lucky dip, so we each got like a little lucky dip crystal. I think Freya maybe got like onyx, and I got carnelian. I can see all the letters, just not what order they go in. That one. Which I feel like it's quite fitting right now, so that was all very good. And then the plan for that day was basically to just head into the mountains and see what we could find. And like, I've been to Newcastle a million times, but I've never just like went up into the Mourne Mountains really. So that was fun. So we started our little drive up through there. And I remember like, I'm like, oh my god, the outfit I was wearing was so annoying. Like, you saw it in the pictures. It looked real nice, but if I moved any which way, I was just popping right out constantly the whole way out. So it's just as well that we were like in the arsehole of nowhere the whole day, because man, I really liked that dress, but unless I get like tape or something, I cannot wear it in public. That is a out in the middle of nowhere only kind of dress. But yeah, so we're like driving along, having a good old time, taking in the sights, and then there was like a really pretty little bit, and like Freya pointed, was like, oh, that's pretty. And like, we were about to pass it, but I was just like, that is pretty! Just like zoomed us on in. Like we're like bumping over, and she was laughing, and she was like, I'm so glad the way you are, because I thought that was really nice, but I thought it would be too late to ask you to stop, and I'm like, nah, never too late. So we stopped in this like cute little bit. I don't know where it was or what to call it, it was just pretty. And so we're kind of both just wandering around there. I took a couple of pictures there, and we're just kind of wandering around. And then like Freya was like off, and I was wondering about my boobs had come out, and I was like, do you know what? She's off over there, there's no one else here. I am going to wander through nature, tits to the wind. And it was actually very freeing. I think I'm going to become a very large activist of Free the Nipple, because I was like, do you know what? This is nice. I am reconnecting with my feral roots. And as I was wandering around in the mountains, as nature intended, I don't know, I was just looking around, and I had a feeling, and I looked at my feet, bone. Big ol' bone. Perfectly sunbleached right there. And I picked it up, and I was like, ah! And like, I was so excited, but Freya said like she heard me like scream and thought I'd died or something, and she said it sounded like, you know, like one of those the chickens that you squeeze and they make the noise. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. But yeah, so I was very excited with my bone find. So into the car that went, and then we continued on our way, and we were kind of trying to find, because I know Because, like, the mountains are really cool. And I know that recently, and it's so fucking sad. I was saying that, maybe we just weren't in the place that it happened because it seemed fine. But there were, like, bad gorse fires up in the mountain recently. And annoyingly, it was this, like, because of arson. Like, some dickhead set the fires. I'm like, what the fuck is actually wrong with you to do that? But we kind of wanted to just see what that was like, and I thought, like, you know, and like, it's fucking tragic, but then I was also like, it might be interesting to like take pictures if the land is all just like scorched or whatever. But we didn't find anything like that, so either, like, we saw some burnt trees, but I don't know if just like the vegetation has just bounced back really well because it's spring or what, but everything was like very green actually. It looked like it was doing well, but then I'm like, maybe we just didn't go to where that was happening, but I thought we had. I don't know. So yeah, we didn't find any like super burnt areas, just like a few little burnt trees, which honestly is a good thing. Yeah, so we spent some time driving around the mountains. I think we like went right round through like starting Newcastle up and around, and we ended at Bloody Bridge, and we kind of explored around there a little bit. I really want to go swimming there soon. It looks like, because I know I went swimming there as a kid. I like ended up with stitches in my chin because all of us were swimming there, and there was like a little waterfall and then like a pool, and we're swimming in the pool, and then we'd like climb up the waterfall and like jump in the pool as kids. But, like, that's what we were doing for ages that day. But then it's just one of the times I was climbing up, my hand slipped because the, you know, the rocks are wet, and I landed like full weight on my chin and then like down into the water. I was really young, but I remember getting out just like very dazed and being like, oh god, like, you know, I was just kind of like, oh. And my friend started like screaming. And obviously because I'm like soaked, like I'm wet, it looked even worse than it actually was. So I like put my hand to my chin, pull back, and like my arm was just covered in blood, and I was like, oh no. But we didn't really know what to do, so we just like continued with our day. And I remember that day because I saved a butterfly from the river and I brought it, and like I helped it. That's like the main thing that sticks out. Continued having a lovely day. And it wasn't until I got home way later that night, because it wasn't my parents we were with, it was like one of my friend's parents. And we got back later that night, and my mum saw my chin like split completely open and like freaked and was like, what the fuck, why did they not bring you back sooner? And so we had to go to the hospital. And that was the first time I started crying because I hated hospitals. I was like, I don't want to go to the hospital. And that was the first time I ever had stitches. And it was right here, and because they were sticking down, it looked like I had a teeny tiny beard, and I was not happy about it. Yeah, so we had a little wander around Bloody Bridge, and then we went back, we like retraced our steps and went back up into the mountain, and we stopped up around there and took some, yeah, we like took some cool pictures up there. I don't know if I like any of the ones I got of me in those areas, which is a shame because the backdrop is really cool. So if I didn't get any I like, I'm gonna go back there at some point. Although for some of them we were literally standing in like a swamp and I was just sinking into it. My feet were soaked. I was like, ah! Oh my god, that's right. And then on the way home we were like, oh, we needed like a few more bits because we were just like having girl dinner again, because again we're getting back quite late. But we stopped at this Tesco just to grab like a couple, I think we just needed some like brie and some fruit. Yeah, so like Freya had just ran in and I was in the car on the phone, and like I knew she was only going in for like 2 things, so I was like, man, she's taking a long time, I wonder if she's okay. And she comes back and I see her like saying something and like making numbers, and I was like, what? And I like opened the window and I was like, what? And she was like, there's not 1, not 2, but 3 big fat cats, like fat black cats over by the entrance to Tesco. And I was like, oh my god. And I like hung up the phone and just jumped out of the car and I was like, cats! And so we went to, and they were so cute, and they were just hanging out at the doorway of Tesco. And someone like apparently had said to her like, do not feed them because they're all really fat and diabetic, and they just wait outside Tesco all day to like guilt people into buying them food. And they were so cute and friendly, so we spent ages just like petting the cats, which means we were getting home even later than intended, but it was worth it. But yeah, just randomly at Tesco. And yeah, I think I will leave the rest of that story for the Patreon newsletter because I'm getting close to being done with my makeup, and there are other things I want to talk about, such as this weekend a new goth dark alternative night is launching in London. So that's going to be Saturday, and I will be hosting, and I'm very excited for it because it's the same venue as an event called Kit Kat that was like a one-off thing, because it was like Kit Kat was originally like one of the big goth nights in London from the 80s, and then it hadn't been on, and they did like a Halloween, you know, Renaissance like comeback, and that was really cool. And it was in a venue called Omera, or Omira, I'm not really sure, but the venue was so good. I really liked it. I was like, damn, this place is fucking cool. I'm really sad that Kit Kat is a one-off because this is sick. I don't think that's where it was like originally back in the 80s, but you know. But Dark Scene, the thing that I'm hosting on Saturday, is in the same venue, and I'm super excited for it. And there's like a bunch of cool DJs and like performers. Like last time, I don't even know what all performances are happening, because I know whenever it was at, whenever Kit Kat was there was like a fashion show and everything of like really weird stuff, and it was just very cool, so I'm super excited. And then I'm not sure what else I'm doing. Yeah, I don't think I'll have time for loads of other stuff while I'm in. Oh no. You know, you can tell that they're uneven, but you can't quite figure out in what way. Oh my god, too hot now that I've closed the window. I think the loud thing is gone. Okay, I'm going to take a moment to chill and go find eyelashes and stuff, get those on, and I'll be back to do my lips, and we'll see what we come up with from there. Hello, I reached maximum levels of cannot be fucked, so I went and had some dinner, and then I found my eyelashes, and now I'm back, and it's time to do my lips. Now, everyone, because like recently I've been doing a lot of like, you know, like greyish, nudish, like that realm of lips, and people keep asking me where it's from. I haven't answered like most of the time, and I'm not gatekeeping. It's because there's two problems with it. A, it's usually a mixture of things. It'll be like 2 lipsticks and an eyeshadow or something. Like I tend to mix things a lot. And B, the bigger problem, don't judge me, those mixtures usually always contain this. This is the NYX Lip Lingerie in the colour Scandalous. The problem, which is why I can't really recommend this now, is because they don't make it anymore. The bigger problem is they haven't made this in a long time. This is real old and real gross, and I wore it like every day last week, and now I have like breakouts all around, so I kind of feel like this has caused me a breakout, so I feel like I have to stop using it. But I don't have anything else that's like this kind of shit. I have a couple of greys from Jolie Beauty that are nice, but they are like grey, like cool toned straight up grey, whereas I'm looking for like something right now that's this kind of like brownish grey, you know, like that sort of dead girl colour. Whereas like the proper greys can read almost a tiny bit blue, I find. I want something like this. And unfortunately we're out of the era where this was popular, because a bunch of brands were doing like the greyish thing for a while, and then suddenly it wasn't popular anymore, and now they're all gone. So if anyone has a recommendation of something that isn't 1,000 years old and probably giving me acne, that would be lovely. I feel like I shouldn't use this again, given the fact that I did just start my period today, to be fair, so it could also just be hormonal, but I'm not risking it because that is old and gross. But in that case, I don't really know what lips I want to do, because I don't feel like black, I don't feel like something colourful, and I don't really feel like the cool toned grey. So, to be fair, this is also really old. It's not sticking to that little inner bit of lip. It's not really what I wanted, but it's fine. I think this will do. I am going to go find clothes and then we'll finish up. Okay, here we are with the finished look. I also forgot to say I took away the thing I did on the cheeks at the start, because like I started doing it and it wasn't going the way I intended to look, and I was like, I just did. So we just got rid of it. We just got rid of it. Which, compared to the last time, I think this went okay. It's nothing amazingly daring or outside the realm of what I've done before, but I didn't have to redo my entire face, so I'm counting that as a win. So yes, thank you so much for tuning in and catching up with me a little bit. As I say, the rest of the stories will be in my newsletter. The link to my Patreon is down below. You can check there for that. I actually have like a bit of a goal for like around the time of my birthday, just because, you know, like that's a random milestone, to increase my Patreon a bit, because like after all the drama of the past couple of years when all the bad things happened, like died down, my Patreon dipped as well, which makes sense because, you know, obviously everyone like wants to support when bad things are happening. But I'd really like to try to get it back up a bit again as well, so it's not a case of like, you can literally track my Patreon earnings and point out the really bad times of my life by where it spikes. But it'd be really nice if things over there could go well whenever I am not going through something terrible. So that's like my little goal for myself, because there are 357 people on there right now. I don't know if that number shows for everyone else, because it also shows like followers, and there's like a lot more followers than like people who have joined, but there's like 357 people who have actually joined, and like I feel like 500 people is probably too ambitious, but I'm putting it out in the universe. If you want to try to help me reach that little goal, consider joining Patreon, join our Discord, talk to the other lovelies, get the newsletter, etc. Link is down below. Okay, plug over. But yes, finished look, thank you so much. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how y'all are doing. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna get on with things, record some other videos, try not to overheat and die, and I will see you in the next video. Bye lovelies!